Today is Valentine's Day. It's one of the most important days of the year if you're ever planning on proposing. Believe it or not, it's actually the second most popular day for proposing. New Year's Eve is the most popular day, but Valentine's Day is the second most popular. You know, some people even call it, particularly in America, they call it actually Propose Day rather than Valentine's Day. So you're all, on the verge of something amazing today. So even though there's only one winner today, if there's anyone else out there that would love to feel like taking the plunge, we're all for that as well. I think, it's one of the most, important things as you begin your story and your journey as a couple, to actually begin that idea of proposing. And, speaking from myself, I can remember almost everything about the day that I decided to propose, and I'll tell you that story a little bit more later. But I know there might be some people in the room that think that maybe proposing is cliche or it's just a day that was invented by the greeting card company. But it's really making resurgence in the last couple of years, with more and more couples choosing today to be the day that they propose. I sometimes say that if a picture tells 1,000 words, then your engagement ring is the start of a novel with a lifetime of memories. I guess I have one of those photographic memories when it comes to jewellery. I'm terrible with names, so you'll forgive me if I don't remember all of your names, but when it comes to jewellery, I've got a photographic memory. So oftentimes I'll see a client as they come in, and their face will look familiar, but it's not until I see their rings that I can remember. And I can remember everything about it. So I'll remember sketching and designing it. I'll remember the diamonds that I chose. I'll even remember having a conversation with the master jeweller who made the ring. And that's one of the things I just really love about my job. So today is really about how to find and choose that perfect engagement ring that she's ultimately going to love forever. And one of the things that I'm most passionate about when it comes to helping guys choose the engagement ring is I really want to make them look like the hero in their partner's eyes. Because it's a tough job, going out there on your own and choosing the ring. There's a lot of nerves involved, like what if she's going to like it? So that's really where our drive comes into it. But I guess from a guy's perspective, there are three main challenges that I see guys going through every time that they're looking to propose. Number one, they just don't know what their partner wants. They haven't been able to find a ring that has a maximum wow factor. And number three, they didn't understand the core diamond fundamentals of cut, colour, clarity and carat weight. It's all fairly technical, I know, and we'll go into a little bit more detail in a little while. But our aim when we're looking to help guys with that perfect engagement ring is really to help them find a style that will look really amazing on her hand. It's to help them design and guide them through the process of creating a ring with maximum wow factor. And we really want to teach them how to master the core diamond fundamentals and have a diamond that sparkles like any other. And the way that we do that is we've actually developed a 5-step method to help guys along that journey. And I call that the SERVE method. Firstly, we try to seek to understand. We allow them to experience the design difference. Realize that there is a diamond difference. The value of legacy. And to exceed the expectation. So as I mentioned, everybody has a story. And for us, and my job as a jewellery designer, is to really find out your story and what brought you here today. Every one of you has your own story that somehow, whether you found us through Facebook, whether you found us through a recommendation or a networking, you all have a story of not only how you came here today, but how you found each other. That longing gaze across the restaurant when you first saw your partner for the first time. The things that you love to do in your spare time. Are you an outdoors person? Are you a beach or a holiday person? So you all have a story, what you do for work. All of these things for us form the complete picture. And if I'm to guide you on your journey to finding that perfect ring, then it's important for me to understand where you are, where you've come from, and where you would love to be. So as a professional jewellery designer, it is one of my favourite things to sit down and draw. And I love to do everything the old school way. So I will sketch your dream ring for you. And the most important thing is, don't worry if you haven't found your perfect dream ring yet. Because if you could find it everywhere, it probably wouldn't be your dream ring. So dream rings are created and not just found. And what I love to do sometimes is really to pull in different elements from all different rings and put it together so there's one ring for you. The other thing I love to say is that you don't know what it is that you don't know. And that's my job as the designer, to help you and give you all of the most amazing ideas about what you can do. So it could be something like a side diamond feature into the side of the stone, or setting some side diamonds. When I'm designing something that's really super special, it's not about what's for everybody else. It's about what's for you. You know, it's supposed to be something that really just makes it magical for you, so that every time you look at it, it brings you joy. I had a client just recently who had a love of all things polka dots. She had polka dot handbags, polka dot dresses, everything was polka dots. And she had two favorite colors between her and her partner. One was green and the other was purple. So I designed a ring for her with a polka dot in either side of the setting. We put an emerald on one side and we put an amethyst on the other. So she had her perfect dream ring. It was something that was totally special and unique to her. And she had a ring at 1 in a million, something that nobody else had. So now for the guys. This tends to be a bit more of the guys sort of stuff. It's the technical nitty-gritty. It's all about the 4 C's. You know, this is what makes the diamond sparkle. So when we talk about the 4 C's, most people kind of understand that there's a cut thing or maybe a clarity thing, but there's really 4 main categories that come to choosing the most perfect diamond. They are cut, color, clarity, and carat weight. So which one is the most important? So put your hand up if you think the clarity is the most expensive, the most important. Okay, interesting. What about the carat? Who thinks the carat's the most expensive? Yeah, that's you. Good. The color. Okay. And what about the cut? Ah, very good, Gunnar. Well done. The cut is actually the right answer. Okay? And I'll get more into that in a little while. So most people understand that these days all diamonds come with a GI certificate. A GI being the Gemological Institute of America. And they are perhaps the world-leading authority when it comes to diamond grading. But what does it really mean? And what is the certificate really telling you? I mean, the best thing to understand about a GI certificate is that it's just a really good second opinion. You know, if I told you that a car has 4 wheels and a gearbox, is that going to tell you how it drives? You really need to see a diamond to really fully understand all the small intricacies about what brings it to sparkle. So I know that there are some ladies in the room that think that the bigger the rock, the bigger the smile, and that's good, but it is not actually the most important. So this is the 4 C's chart that probably some of you are well, versed in. If you've ever walked into a jewelry store, you've probably seen it, in one format or another. So I'm going to kind of break it down a little bit for you now and go into all the 4 individual categories. So congratulations to all the guys that said cut is the most important. It is the only thing that makes a diamond sparkle. And it is the only thing that man has any control over. It is the cutter's job to unlock the hidden beauty within a stone. And the important thing, why that's so important, is that if I took 5 diamonds out of the ground from the same place and I gave it to 5 different cutters from around the world, the stones would actually all look completely different. But if I took 5 diamonds from around the world and gave it to the same cutter, they would actually all look the same. So it's all about the perfection of cutting, and it's about the angles and getting everything looking perfect. If one of these angles was 1/10 of a degree like this, and one was 1/10 of a degree like that, the diamond wouldn't be sparkling as optimally as possible. So out of the 4 main categories, if you're going to put as much of your budget into a stone, this is the perfect one to do that. Now sometimes people say to me, can I really tell the difference? If I showed you those 2 diamonds, which one would you choose? While the one on the left might look like it's white and big, it's also kind of a little bit lifeless. There's no real blues or reds or yellows. There's no contrast there. Whereas the stone on the right, which is a passionate hearts and arrows diamond, a perfectly cut diamond in Russia, it has all the blues, the reds, and that crystal clear look. It's almost like looking into a deep pond. That's the stone that's going to keep you sparkling for the rest of your life. That beautiful, rainbow effect that's on the roof of your car when you're driving. you know, or what your girlfriends are going to see from across the room. It's the cut that's going to make all the difference. The next one is the color. Now, what we're really talking about with color is really the lack of color. So the D color, which is the most pure white stone, and really the only stone that's considered completely white. There's a little bit of trivia for you. Has anyone ever wondered why the color grading for diamonds starts at a D? Why not start at A? The reason is the original diamond grading system was called A grade, B grade, C grade diamonds. I know, very imaginative that they came up with those 3 grades, but that was how they first graded diamonds. But what they quickly learnt was there were so many more distinctions when it comes to grading a diamond. So they started a new diamond grading system. So to avoid confusion, they started at D. So if you ever get a trivia question, that's always the answer why. So when we talk about colour though, the interesting to know is that the difference between an E and an F is actually not the same as a G and a H. It's not a linear difference. So if you think of it graphically, this is like a H band, this is a G, F, E, D. So what that means is that the higher up you go, the less of a difference there is, which is why we recommend to always stay within the top 3 colours of D, E, or F. Now, sometimes people might say to me, can you really tell the difference between like an F colour and a H? So I photographed them for you. What you can see is that the diamond on the right is the H. It's distinctly, obviously yellow, whereas the diamond on the left is white. So that's for us, if you're wanting to get the best you can out of a diamond, the F is the perfect grade to balance all of the other properties together. So clarity. This is talking about the natural imperfections or birthmarks, if you like, in your stone. All diamonds have inclusions. But when we're talking about clarity, what we're really talking about is what can you see with a 10-powered magnifying lens? It's not saying, is it completely flawless? Because if I went with a 100-power magnifying lens, what you'd probably find is that a flawless diamond looks like an SI or a small included diamond. So when I talk about clarity with couples, I really talk about acceptable clarity. In other words, if you look from every angle that you can find and you can't see any natural inclusions in the stone, then that is an acceptable clarity. The perfect balance grade here is an SI clarity, but you really need a proper diamond expert to help you find that stone, because most of the SI stones that we find today are fairly included. So probably about 1 in every 40 or 50 stones that I see are the perfect one, which is a mark off to the edge that we can cover with a claw, which ultimately is going to save you more money to put into either the size or the cut or the colour. Now, carat weight. The reason that this is at the bottom of the chart is it's actually the least important of all 4. And there are 3 main reasons why that is. When we talk about carat weight, what that really is talking about, it's a metric measurement of volume and therefore weight, which means that as we increase or decrease the stone this way, we also do it that way. So what that means is that when you look at a 1/2 carat diamond, it actually measures 5.2 millimeters in diameter, whereas a carat measures 6.5. So although you've doubled the diamond weight, you've only increased the diameter by 1.3 millimeters. Now, I don't know if anyone knows how small 1.3 millimeters is. It's kind of like a couple of pages. It's really small. But what you're going to pay for that is probably close to $7,000 or $8,000. The second reason that carat weight is on the bottom is that diamonds are not priced like the tax system. Okay, it's not every point over a certain mark that's charged at a higher rate. With diamonds, once you hit a magic point like a 1 carat diamond, the whole weight of the stone is charged at a higher rate, which is why once you hit that magic 1 carat, there's at least a sort of a $2,000 price increase. So why that's important is that if you can pull in just under one of those significant price jumps, you can get a stone that looks fractionally smaller, but will sparkle a lot more. And the third reason that it's at the bottom is that if you were choosing between 2 diamonds, one was an average or poorly cut carater measuring 6.3, or a perfectly cut 90 pointer, they're actually going to have the same diameter. So the question is, would you rather choose a diamond that looks better and sparkles more, or one that simply weighs more? That's the reason why it's always better to have a stone that's slightly smaller, but of better quality. You see, they're not like a bottle of wine. It's not going to get better in 10 years' time. If you buy the best quality diamond that you can now, it will always be amazing. When we talk about legacy, for me, it's about having a ring that you're going to have forever. When you say I do and you're committing to your vows, it's forever. And I believe that your ring should be there as well. And that's why when I make a ring, I always offer a lifetime manufacturing warranty, because I know that when I make it, it'll be there forever. And I want you to love it as much in 60 years' time as you do today. Now, for the ladies in the room, this is perhaps the defining moment, the one that they love the most. It is that wow moment when they see the ring for the very first time. And what we aim to do here is to really exceed the expectation. And it's one of those things that I just, being a perfectionist, I love to do. So as the designer, when a ring is being made, I'm constantly checking on its progress and making sure that every little detail is followed to the plan. And sometimes it's a matter of just tweaking an angle by 1/10 of a degree, or rolling a band, or just taking a few tenths off the side of the band to really accentuate and bring out the center stone. Now, some people might say, well, can anyone really notice the difference? But to me, it's more important that I notice the difference. And as Sarah said, for me, my benchmark is that it has to be good enough that I would give it to my wife. And if it passes that test, then I'm happy for the future lady to wear it. That's one of the things that I just love to do. So now we've gone through how to create or design an amazing engagement ring. We've spoken about how to pick the perfect diamond and where to spend your money to give you the best effect. Now the next step for a lot of guys is, okay, how am I going to protect this amazing asset? So jewelry insurance, I've heard from some guys, oh, I'm just going to self-insure. That means kind of the insurance thing is too difficult for me to worry about right now. I'll put that in the too hard basket. But there are really a couple of things that you really want to make sure, now once you've designed this amazing engagement ring, that you can really protect it. So the most important thing is to have a ring, have a policy where everything is itemized with full details of all of the diamonds and a digital photo. So if you don't have a proper valuation certificate, make sure that you take a photo of it in front of like a current newspaper, like the Sunday Mail. You want to make sure that it's got worldwide cover, okay? Not that it's just covered in your general area, or what about if you go on holidays? So you really want to make sure that no matter where you are in the world, you're completely covered. The fine print. Who here reads the fine print on any of their insurance policies? Oh, good. We've got a couple of those sort of people. Good for you. We need more people like you. But not many people do. So one of the things that you have to look out for is the fine print clauses. Things like, was it lost at the insured address? Was there any forced signs of entry? You know, the worst thing you can have is that if the worst happens, finding out that your insurance wasn't really adequate enough. Who here has their jewellery or any valuation that they've got updated every 12 months? All diamonds are bought on the US currency. Now, about a year or so ago, we were at parity, and now we're down to about 77 cents. So if you had an engagement ring that was perhaps, say, $10,000, to replace that ring today would probably cost you at least another $2,000 or $3,000. So if you haven't updated your valuation in the last 12 months, you'd be very underinsured. Now, the way insurance works is, it only works when you have the exact amount of cover that you need. Too much cover? So sad, too bad. And if you have too little, the same sort of thing, so sad, too bad. So it's really important to make sure that you update your jewelry valuations every 12 months. So having an insurance policy that does that for you automatically, like the Q report, is going to help take all of that stress out of your mind. A jewelry specific policy. Would you insure your car with a boat insurance company that specialise just in boats? But that is what most household and contents do. They're really designed just to insure things that fall within the house. Jewelry is such a complicated thing. A ring can be melted down, stones can be reused. Having a policy that was written by jewellers for jewellery is the most important thing, because they understand that in the event of a loss, what you really want is you really just want to be returned to the state that you were prior to the loss. Not necessarily better or worse, but just the way that you were. A specified amount. Now, most people understand what this is when we talk about cars. You know, is it market value or is it an agreed value? The best policy is always going to be a specified amount, so that you know that if you insure it for $10,000, that in the event of a claim, that's exactly what you have to spend. And most importantly, going back to the jeweler of your choice. You know, you really want to make sure that the jeweler who made your ring originally, they understand everything that is that you wanted. And they understand that if the worst should happen, how to make it again exactly the way that you wanted it. So you could almost forget about the fact that you ever lost it in the first place. So make sure that if you have insurance policy, that you tick off all of those boxes. So now we've talked about finding the perfect ring, finding the perfect diamond, choosing the right insurance to make sure that it's covered. The question is now, how do you propose? So I thought I would share a little story about how I decided to propose and why an insurance policy was extremely important at that time. I decided to do it in a hot air balloon. Now, one thing nobody ever told me about when you propose in a hot air balloon is there are a lot of holes in the bottom of the basket. So as I'm getting down on one knee, I'm looking down, I'm thinking, oh, I hope I don't drop it. Because if I drop it, I am never going to find it again. So, you know, it's really important, again, to make sure particularly that you have the right insurance to cover you. What we found is that if a problem is going to happen with an engagement ring, it's usually in the first 3 months. Okay, so while the lady is getting used to wearing it, adjusting to her movements to make sure that everything is fine, I can't stress enough how important that is, at least for the first 12 months. So that was an interesting proposal. But there's so much as guys that we have to think about, isn't there? So much going on about this sort of time, getting the perfect ring, thinking about how we're going to do it. So the piece of advice I give to most guys is to do a little bit of research. Winging it in front of the TV on a Wednesday afternoon doesn't cut it. And I use that as an example because I know that happened to somebody. So do a little bit of research, make it really special. Plan what you're going to say, okay? Plan what you're going to say. Work out why your partner is special to you. There's no redo buttons when it comes to, saying all those important stuff. Ideally, you want to rehearse it a couple of times, okay? Just to make sure that you don't leave any of that important stuff out. And the fourth thing is to enjoy it, okay? It is an exciting time, and we're going to see someone here today do that. But really just own it and enjoy it, because it is something really special to do. So really, you're at the point in your life where it's ready to start a new chapter. And it's really about you writing your own story and having somebody there to guide you along that journey and help you craft the perfect moment. And that is one of the things that I love to do and why I'm so passionate about the business that I'm in.
The whole breakfast has been just fantastic.
And the food was delicious.
Food was delicious.
Always wanted to come to our area, so it's good.
Well catered, well organised, and just a nice way to start the day. It was really good.
Yeah, it was very informative this morning, yeah. It was good to see Carl get up and have a chat. I learnt a lot about diamonds that I didn't know already, so yeah, it was good.
Carl was amazing. And how could you, even walking away without the prize, how could you not be a winner by coming to this?
We've learnt a lot about diamond grading and what a good diamond is and what a not so good diamond is.
Carl taught me a great deal more than I knew about diamonds already, and I have a small knowledge, but after speaking to Carl about it, he is amazing. The knowledge and experience that man has in the diamond industry
It's great.
You can go home and read the book now.
Yeah. Do a bit of research.
I certainly will be going there to buy a diamond, yeah.